What up, y'all? Welcome to episode 3. We're going to talk about something super important, which is essentially your financial freedom and how to get there. But I wanted to bring in a little special guest, this Tupperware container. I wanted to stress the importance of frugality, which means trying to save money where you can. This single Tupperware has been used about 300 times. I've had it for years. I've been meal prepping for years, and it's probably over the course of the last 10 years of doing so saved me 15,000, 20,000. I really have no idea, but this single Tupperware has been the real MVP because it's held up after 300 uses of eating my own lunch. Financial freedom is probably the most important thing on everybody's mind right now. The younger generations are worried about what kind of future they're going to have. The older generations haven't planned for a future at all and are worried that they're going to have to work for the rest of their lives. By no means did I go to school for any of this stuff, but I was lucky enough to have a mom that showed me the importance of living below your means. She used to make me write out her mortgage payments. She used to make me write out her payments to vendors when I was just a little kid. So balancing a checkbook has always been in the back of my mind. Finances really should be looked at in one of two ways. You have your money in and your money out, your water in and your water out. We're going to use the water analogy because it is a lot like water, and I'm going to use a term called the leaky faucet that I learned many, many years ago. That is an excellent way to describe where the money is flowing out of you and you're not necessarily paying attention. If you only focus on the money in, the water flowing into the equation, you're not necessarily going to obtain financial freedom because you can make as much money as you want in this world. For those of you who have ample skills, if you spend it as soon as you get it, you're lost. The simplest part of this whole equation is the money in. How much money you make is generally fixed. Unless you're like me and you're in sales where large fluctuations can make your money go in and out at a variable rate. Most of you guys watching this video make an hourly wage or you make a salary where your earnings are consistent. So I want you guys to take this for a moment and separate that in your mind. Financial freedom is solved on that portion. Now, obviously, I'm not saying you're going to be a millionaire if you're only making $26,000 a year. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am telling you is that you don't want to overcomplicate it. So stop focusing on how much money you're making and start focusing on the leaky faucets, which are the way that you're spending your money poorly, and it's robbing you of a bright future. I've mentioned this before. I want to make this channel super relatable for you guys. Some of you are really new in job market in general. Maybe you've just landed your first job, or maybe you're looking for your first job, or you're trying to change careers, but you still haven't figured out everything. So there's a couple really easy ways to save money. Obviously, most of you guys watching these videos right now are paid via direct deposit or a check from your employer. So you have to have a bank to put your money. But a bank is not the most effective way for you to plan for your future because the interest that you earn in the bank is pretty much inconsequential. It's non-existent. It's 0.01%, 0.02%. Take you millions of years to accumulate any real wealth with the interest generated in a bank. They also offer something called CDs. Stay away from CDs. What they do is they lock your money in for several years for maybe 2 or 3% interest earned. Again, it's not a game changer. Then you have your debit card if you have a checking account. You have a credit card, and then you have an investment portfolio. I am not a financial advisor. The information that I'm giving you here is not to tell you how to live your life. I'm just trying to give you a basic, broader understanding of financial tools and how you can get yourself into a situation of freedom. Before we go any further, I want to talk to you again. Back to the Tupperware container. Your leaky faucets are the way that you mismanage your money. So when you're eating out instead of eating food that you cooked over the weekend, when you go to the grocery store and you end up tossing 2/3 of the vegetables that sat in the crisper drawer for too long, when you have to go buy that new pair of sneakers, or you have to go and buy that t-shirt. Actually, as a matter of fact, I came to the house to grab this Tupperware container, but I really wanted to wear a different shirt for this video, which was a Viore shirt. These shirts are $80 at retail. I have the money to eat out every day. I have the money to buy a new car right now. I have the money to buy brand new clothes. But I bought that Viore shirt, which fits me like a glove, for $15 on Depop. I'm not sponsored by Depop. I don't get paid or residuals from Depop. We're a brand new channel, but I just wanted to stress the importance of, I have a decent amount of money coming in, but I try to make sure that there's as little leaky faucets as possible. In making this content relatable, I know a couple of things about you right now. You're probably not fulfilled in your job. You probably don't make as much money as you want. And you probably can't wait to get off work the moment you walk through the doors. You may not have an abundance of hobbies. You may not have the closest group of friends or a sense of community from the society that you live in. And you feel a little bit lost because you think about it and you're saying, I'm 22 or I'm 30 years old. What do I do? Where am I going? What is my future going to look like? And I'm telling you right now that regardless of all the systemic stuff that sucks about life today and all the ways that society is much harder to operate in today than it was 50 years ago, you still have hope. And it starts with fixing the leaky faucets. I'm going to promise you this. I know many people who make two, three, four, $500,000 a year that are still paycheck to paycheck. They make enough money to support multiple families. They make enough money to fix a village in a poor country right now. But they're paycheck to paycheck because they spend money as soon as they get it. They buy a bigger house, a bigger, better car. They're scared. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of those people that make that type of money, they don't have a $500,000 a year skill set. They got those positions in life because they knew somebody at a higher level. Maybe they got a little bit of luck. Maybe they got a little bit of privilege. But where they are today, if that income goes away, they're going to be hard pressed to find it. And that's a terrifying position to be in. So like I said before, your money in is usually pretty fixed. And if you hyper focus on that and trying to make more money just to solve all your problems, I promise you, you're still going to be hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck, with bad financial decisions being made every day. So getting you guys to plan for your future is so important. We talked a little bit about saving money and what you should do with it. You've got your bank, you've got your debit card, you've got your potential credit card. Credit cards are amazing if you know how to use them. Every time you go to a restaurant and you see that little sign out there that says you're being charged a 3.5% fee for using a debit or credit card, that fee is the same whether or not you used a debit or a credit. But the difference is, with a credit card, what you buy today, you can pay for tomorrow. And as long as you pay that bill off within the first 30 days, you will not be assessed any interest. And the credit cards are going to give you percentage points back. I use Chase Bank, so any of my purchases on my credit cards give me 1% to 5% back, depending on the category. To me, that's free money. Because if I wasn't going to use the credit card, I was going to use the debit card. They were going to take that money immediately out of my account and I was going to get nothing for it. But instead, when Christmas rolls around and I'm buying gifts, what do? I cash out all the free money that I got from Chase. Is it free? No, it's not free. The question is, are you walking away from 1 to 5% of your purchases or not? So if you guys understand the importance of managing a credit card, paying it off before the end of the month, then it is a wise decision. Building your credit is so important for you guys to be able to buy a house, to get a better interest rate on a car, and to have a brighter future. So you have to treat it very carefully. You have to be responsible. You have to pay the balance down. Please, for the love of God, if you're watching this right now, do not get a credit card, max it out, and then accumulate debt, because that's the dangerous part. I know way too many people who are shackled to their credit card debt. And if they have $1,000 balance, they're getting hit with 20% interest at the end of every month. It's almost impossible to get out from under that. And it's like being shackled and chained to a financial institution for all the wrong reasons. We talked about where you're at mentally. We know that life is tough. We know that it's hard. The whole point of this channel is to give you guys a little bit of guidance and hope. I'm 35 years old today, and until I was about 28 years old, my net worth was maybe $3,000. I was paycheck to paycheck as well. I wasn't making as much money as I wanted to, and I was not fixing my financial habits. If I had learned to cook my own food, buy secondhand clothes, drive a car that was economical instead of something flashy, there would be a lot more money in my bank account today. And while I am telling you guys to forego certain luxuries, take a frugal path in life, you still have to find time to enjoy yourself. There's a lot of activities out there that are free, but there's a lot of activities that are fun and fulfilling, whether it's a 6-pack of beer, going to the bar with your friends, going out to a club, or buying something new. Those things all give you a dopamine hit that makes you feel good about yourself, but that does not last. It fades very quickly. And at the end of it, you usually don't have much to show for it, except for maybe a hangover, a shirt that you thought you were going to wear all the time that sits in your closet for 2 years. Just to summarize here, you have the money in, you have the money out. The money in, that's the simple one right now. And I promise you, if you fix the money out part, you repair all the leaky faucets, and you become a person who's more disciplined, that person is going to be so much more capable of earning a better job, of earning a better pay rate, and being able to bring in more water to the equation because you've become disciplined, because you fixed some of your bad habits. AJ and I were talking about this the other day, this specific episode. He actually wanted me to make this episode because he feels it applies to him in some way. I think we've talked about Dave Ramsey before. There's a lot of really good people out there, far more capable at explaining what's going on with your finances than myself. My favorite thing from Dave Ramsey was the emergency fund, which I like to call the oh shit fund. And it's also a little bit of fuck you money. I'm going to try not to swear too much on this channel, but I think it's important to call it those terms because it is exactly that. When you're paycheck to paycheck, every single dollar coming in is going out. You feel chained to that job. You feel desperate. You're going to be more inclined to put up with a crappy employer. You're going to be more inclined to do a type of work that you don't like because you don't have any leg to stand on financially. So having that emergency fund, the oh shit fund, or having that fuck you money is something that's going to allow you, once you have your head above water, to say, you know what, I don't need to put up with this type of behavior. I don't need to put up with this type of boss, because I do think that each and every one of you viewers has the right to have a great leader as a boss, somebody who treats you with dignity and respect. I believe every single one of you guys has the right to work a job that gives you a sense of fulfillment and passion. But we don't always get to have those things at the same time or when we want them. Right now, it's about fixing who you wish to become, making sure that you have a little bit of money saved up and you're not hand to mouth. All of society, I promise you, if every single one of us in America right now had 3 months worth of life savings, expenses saved in the bank, we would be able to send shockwaves through the employment sector, because you'd have people quitting left and right from crappy bosses and companies that don't value them. But the simple fact that y'all are paycheck to paycheck and hand to mouth means you can't afford to quit. You'd be screwed. You can't afford 3 weeks of looking for another job. But if you had 3 months worth of savings, you could say, you know what, Daryl, I'm done. I'm going to be treated like a decent human being that I am, and I'm not going to work at a place like this. Here's my 2 weeks. You'll be able to do those types of things with a little bit of an oh shit fund or some fuck you money. Now, I'm not suggesting you should ever quit a job without having another one lined up, but still, I want you guys to have that comfort, to know that if there's an emergency medical expense, you've got it covered, to know that you can put food on the table for the next 3 months just in case all hell breaks loose and you lose your job. You guys deserve to be able to have that. You're going to do it by fixing your leaky faucets. We talked a little bit about what those leaky faucets are. Here's some shit spending items. And I'm going to tell you they're shit right now because they absolutely add no value to your life. If you're smoking weed every day, it's no value. If you're smoking cigarettes every day, it's no value. If you're drinking alcohol every day, there's no value there. If you're spending money on your phone apps and you're playing games while you're taking a 15-minute crap at your employer's facility and you're spending money on that app, there's no value there. You are supposed to enjoy yourself. The key term I use to describe it, if you're smoking weed every day, right? Every day. You don't need to smoke weed every day. You don't need to drink every day. And you're sure as shit shouldn't be smoking cigarettes because they really don't add value to your life. Now, that being said, I use these guys every day. But I'm not smoking. I'm not contaminating my lungs. Fitness is important to me, so I feel like I'm not sacrificing anything with those. I also have the money to spend where buying a roll of these little pouches isn't going to put me at odds with my grocery bill this week. When you have credit card debt, that's another leaky faucet. When you're buying brand new clothes, when you're eating out every single day, and when you're renting, because I know most of you guys are watching this right now, are renting an apartment. Do you have the space for a roommate? Would it make better sense for you to have a roommate? I've talked to a lot of people right now that are expressing, oh, I can't share a place with somebody because I can't stand it when the dishes don't get done. Listen, it's not about that. If you're not where you want to be in life financially, then maybe you do need to make a sacrifice and invite somebody into your home. As long as it's safe and as long as they pay the bills, that might be $300 or $400 more a month that you get to save and plan for your future. Really, when we talk about these moments of crappy spending, what does it come down to? Entitlement. Each and every one of us, when we get home from a long day at work, we sit down on the couch. Let me crack a beer. We feel entitled to certain things, and truly we are in some way. But things that I'd rather you feel entitled to are good treatment from your employer. I'd rather you feel entitled to having great relationships in your life than to feel entitled to getting high or getting drunk or playing video games for 4 hours or doom scrolling on your phone for 4 hours before you go to bed. That's a whole other side of entitlement that really makes sure that you stay stuck where you're at and you never get a chance to grow. You do still need to enjoy life, but finding balance is the most important part. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about investments. Again, not financial advice here, but there's a thing out there called an index fund. I would ask if you've ever heard of an index fund, because I think most of you have, but if you don't fully understand it, I want you to imagine that it's basically a stock that's representing a bunch of other stocks in the market. So when you buy one share of an index fund, it's like you're buying 500 shares, but fractions of it. And when you buy these index funds, you're basically betting on the market's performance. On average, each 10-year period, you get about 8 to 10% return on your investment with index funds. Following the S&P 500, which is essentially like the top 500 stocks or companies within the market. I have personally been investing in index funds for about 10 years. You do not have to buy a whole share. Some of these index funds are extremely expensive. They could be $500, $700 per share, but these trading platforms like Schwab or like Robinhood will allow you to buy 0.1 of a share of an index fund. So it still enables you guys to invest, even if all you can contribute right now is 20 bucks a week. And I'm going to show you guys some really cool math. That's basically what would happen if you're 20 years old today, you're watching this now, and you start putting in 20 bucks a week for the next 50 years. If you put in 100 bucks a week for the next 50 years, how much money is that for you to retire on? We're going to use some key terms here. What is diversification? When you diversify with an index fund, it basically means that you're not exposed to as much risk in the marketplace. So let's say I use an iPhone and I really like Apple. If I go and I buy only shares of Apple, when the tech industry takes a crap, I've lost a good portion of my investment. But with an index fund, when I buy, let's say Vanguard, which is $600 a share, but I'm buying 0.1 a week, buying little slivers of Apple. So Apple can take a crap. IBM and Microsoft is up, or if the oil funds are up, then I'm not exposed to as much risk. So diversification is really important. And even when you're starting small, this is why I'm suggesting index funds. You don't have to go out of your way to pick individual stocks. You can let the market determine it for you. You can set it and forget it and look back 5 years later and be like, oh, wow, I have X number of dollars saved up. It's way better to not expose yourself to the risk of picking individual stocks unless you guys go down the rabbit hole, become experts on those companies, the industries, or the sectors that they compete in. What is a portfolio? Portfolio is a lot like when an artist comes in with a binder showing all of their work. In the investment world, a portfolio is essentially a list of all the stocks that you have that make up that chunk of change you've been collecting. The most important subject, which relates to long-term investment, is time in the market beats timing the market. The longer you're in the market, as long as the United States economy continues to grow and do what it's doing, the longer you're in there, the more money you're going to make. If you want to try and get neurotic with it, buy a stock, sell a stock, try and time it with peaks and valleys, this is where you end up losing a lot of money and you lose a lot of long-term potential by doing that. Again, I'll just say this. If you're interested in trading, there's a lot of people who are really good at breaking this down on YouTube. Andre Geek, look up content with Tony Robbins, look up content with Dave Ramsey. These guys are awesome. Most of my opinions are formulated based on content that I've observed from them over the years. You can buy less than one share at a time. So I think that's really important. A lot of you guys are coming to me with a small amount of money that you're making. You're paid 14 bucks an hour. You do not have a ton of money to invest, but it doesn't take much. This chart and this calculator can be found on investor.gov/financial-tools. Anyways, the link will be here at the bottom of the video. But if you look up compound interest calculator, you can see here that if you start with 20 bucks a week and you contribute that same dollar amount every week for 50 years, you will have put in a total of $52,000, give or take a couple bucks. But your best case scenario is that that portfolio would be worth $1.1 million. My hope for you guys that are watching this video right now is that you're starting off with me with only 20 bucks a week that you can spare to invest in these index funds. But by the time we've grown together and you've watched more episodes, and as you've gone further in your career and in your life, you'll be able to contribute more to these types of retirement funds to plan for your future. If you were able to contribute $100 a week, and check out this chart, the numbers change dramatically. You could be anywhere from $5.5 million to $2.7 million, assuming the market is able to hold 8% returns over the course of those 50 years. And for those of you guys that like to drink, I know we talked about the leaky faucets, but your beer spend, if you're spending about 12 bucks a day on a six pack, you're going to be anywhere from $4.7 million to $2.3 million if you put that into an index fund instead of drinking it on your couch. Like I mentioned before, I know it's important for you guys to kick back and relax. I'm not perfect. Occasionally I'd get drunk. Occasionally I go out, I party. But those moments are few and far between. What I spend most of my time doing nowadays is trying to get the most out of each day. I try to wake up as early as I can. I try to get in here and bring my best for my team. And I'm always getting blown up with text messages and stuff. And to be honest with you, today was a little bit crazy. We had some very stressful moments. But when I get home, I'm just going to want to chill on the couch with my girlfriend and watch a little bit of Netflix. drugs. I've really done my best to try and stay away from substances that keep me shackled and chained to a mindset that's going to hold me back. Basically, my biggest fear is something that David Goggins has expressed in his first book. And of course, I'm going to paraphrase this and I'm going to botch it. But let's say you're Dave Smith and you end up going to heaven at the end of your life and you're being read your name and your life's accomplishments at the gates of heaven. Serial entrepreneur, motivational speaker, great father, great brother, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, hey, wait, that's my name, but I didn't do any of those things. And that person reading your name and your list of accomplishments tells you, oh, I'm just reading off what you could have been. That hit me between the eyes like a ton of bricks. And it's stuck with me every single day. My biggest fear is not living up to my greatest potential. And I don't even know what that is. My goals are not these lofty, crazy goals where it's like, need to have a Lamborghini and 25 rental properties. My goals are to be a good man, to make a positive impact on the people around me, to open and own many businesses and employ many people who are able to have a full life ahead of them. I want to see a world that gets better every day. When we talk about fixing your leaky faucet and we talk about investing in index funds and setting up a brighter future for you, it's because I fully believe that the world that has you in it, that's got a little bit of money reserved and a brighter future, is a world that I want to share. And so I'll leave you guys with this. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, things that you want me to address in these videos, this channel is for you guys. This channel is meant to be relatable and push you guys in the right direction, but always to remind you, you're capable of putting together anything you wish to do in your life. You're capable of achieving any goal, but you do have to start small. You do have to stay humble and you got to work hard. So as always, hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day. Drop a like, subscribe, and say whatever you got to say.